If you guys didn't know by now, I'm on a road trip doing nothing but playing disc golf. Why? Well, because as a wise man once told me, I love this shit. And I took that advice from the red-bearded man, packed up my bags, and hit the road in the minivan. I know so many of you right now are thinking I've always wanted to do that. Don't. It's not as awesome as it sounds, unless you have lots of money. Then yeah, you do you. But no. I'm a broke 22-year-old with nothing but a Swiss cheese. You know, the one with all the holes in his game, not the food. Also, he's my uncle. Our time is spent in the back of coffee houses scripting videos about people throwing frisbees, having to shower at Planet Fitnesses, eating ramen for days, and I haven't even got to the worst parts yet. All I gotta say is remember, there isn't a bathroom in the minivan when you wake up at 3 in the morning and realize you're in a Cracker Barrel parking lot. I love disc golf, like a lot. So sleeping in a passenger seat of a car becomes much more comfortable when you know the next days you're gonna be playing one of the greatest disc golf courses in the world. More of that to come in the next videos. But yeah, for the amount of disc golfers living in their car just playing with no stop in sight, I feel obligated to tell you guys thinking of doing that, please don't. Now the 3 people thinking fuck you, I'm gonna do it, I believe in you. There's too many old dudes I've seen living in their Toyota Corollas using fast food trash as a pillow that it feels necessary to express figuring out your life first, then giving this a try. Or if shit's at an all-time low, then you go for it. But until then, just go on some road trips. Having 3 days to spare before needing to be in Florida, I made my way down to Nashville, Tennessee. Well, technically Franklin. One of the best parts of disc golf is the friends and connections you make on the course. Although I'd only met Aaron one time from a round of disc golf I got a backdoor invite to. Like most disc golfers I meet, he was dope. Turned out he moved away from my local area to, you guessed it, Franklin, Tennessee. He told me if I was ever in his area to hit him up, and being on the route to Florida, I gave my boy a text. Lucky for us, there was a Tuesday morning league that we would make just in time. Actually, we were set up for a nice 8-hour drive that turned into 10 with about 2 hours in standstill traffic. Gotta love road life, because in times that would often cause frustration can now be turned into a moment of relaxation or even fun with the opportunity turning from what seemed to be an endless drive. Sure, you can think of it as time being wasted, not moving on the highway when our exit is less than 3 miles away, or you can take that moment to play some Steely Dan and see how much your voice can handle the screaming. The road gives a new sense of purpose to the mission with side quests to a normal life that seem to consume each day, while the main goal we set out was still to be accomplished one step at a time. With 2 months on the road, we were in no rush. All we had to do was wait for moments to find us. Either way, we got to our destination, chill with the homie, and we were off to leagues the next morning. After breakfast, of course. Pulled up on a beautiful day. I wasn't quite used to 50 degrees in the morning yet, which made me rock the long sleeve, hoodie, with the shirt on top combo. Not the most ideal. But it was a commitment I made and saw it through, no matter how swampy my balls were. After some warm-up throws and meeting some new friends, it was time to toss the $10 in the pot and get a partner. I love seeing the different dynamics of leagues and how they're set up. If you think all of them are the same, you couldn't be more wrong. Going out and exploring these unique courses is one of my favorite things to do in the sport. Hopefully with this channel, I'll be able to show off some awesome people doing incredible things in their local area that never get nearly enough recognition. That's one of the main reasons for this trip. Finding and documenting parts of disc golf that seem to be getting lost from the mainstream, yet still extremely prevalent in the background. These jobs are the ones that usually go without thanks either, but also are the ones that keep the crew alive. Shout out to Dustain and Nate Dogg back home for doing what you do. You are some of the guys that give me faith that when I come back, shit isn't broken. For this league, it was completely random doubles, which was something I don't get to experience a whole lot of. My home league split between uppers and lowers, so the teams are more balanced. Those that want Cali, although they called it Clint, I'm not sure if that's a regional thing or not, but I'll update you guys as soon as I find out. But those that wanted the opportunity had the chance to flip for it. Once that was found out, the rest of the people picked a random card which would determine their partner for the round. I had the pleasure of playing with Giggles, a nickname I quickly learned the reasoning behind. Funny enough, I also happened to be on the same card as Swiss, which was good because he's not used to competition. We started on hole 15, which was perfect, because it was the only one that I had practiced prior to the round starting. Put it within 15 feet, and Giggles smacked the first birdie of the day for us. Hole 2 is an example of why I don't like playing courses blind for serious things. In my mind, the forehand should be fine, but in reality, I have no idea, because I can't tell the tree situation down by the basket. But in spots like this, I just go with my first thought, and Sexton Firebird it was. I ended up hitting some trees, but Giggles' hyzer putt has us covered for another birdie. Made it a little easier on ourselves the next hole and put it a few feet away from the bucket. The next hole looked to be an easy hyzer with the hex, just sawed it off a bit. Made the putt to secure another birdie, and moving on. Apparently I wasn't getting close enough, so I decided to snag the CTP. Next shot, I went big hyzer with my now flippy T-Bird 3, which coasted itself all the way to circle 1 for another birdie look, which we hit. The forehands in the next hole couldn't quite get all the way to the basket, so Giggles and I unfortunately getting our first par of the round. Hopefully we're still in good position. Good thing Giggles is an absolute pimp with his flip-up submarine forehands, crushing this beat-the-shit AJ Destroyer on all types of lines. He put this shot about a foot away, and although 12 inches is huge in my books, in this case, it was close as hell. Giggles wanted to show you guys he can play some disc golf after saving me from this embarrassing drive. The arrows were too distracting, I guess. Either way, we get the bird and move on. Approaching the first shot we were able to chuck, I did what I do best and shanked the drive. I sacrificed the body for this patent-pending shot, giving us the par, or it was a par 4. I can't remember. However, I do remember this park job with the Invader that everyone always seems to laugh at when I throw for some reason. I didn't think birdies were all that funny. Now laughing at this drive, sure, that is completely acceptable. Or when Giggles tries to tell me the Nova is a good forehand disc. Sorry, but no. Both of us throw mediocre drive the next 2 holes, continuing our par train. Giggles pulling out all the stops to try and get us on the right track, chaining out with a Neva flick throw and attempt. Maybe I spoke too soon earlier. This also happened to be my favorite hole on the course. A nice rock wall with a small gap made with the hanging trees. A par 3 that presented a challenge on a hole that somewhat came out of nowhere. I'm a fan. I had to try out one of those Giggles lines. Too bad it wasn't quite in birdie range, but fun nonetheless. That throw embodies what the road trip was all about. Going against what you're being told to do, rather doing what you want because you can. Felt good to let go for a second, but it was time to get back some strokes as the team cooled off from the hot start. Most people will tell you Giggles slipped on this drive, and lucky enough his disc found the circle. I would call it the local route, and since I'm not a local, I wasn't going to try it. And then I threw this bomb, because I didn't know where the basket was. Went about 150 feet past, but hey, it was still better than a bogey. Sadly, it did cost us the box though. First time that round too. The last hole I didn't know what to do, so as a smart disc golfer once told me, when in doubt, hyzer it out. Which I did. Tombstoning right next to the basket for the last birdie of the day. I honestly had no idea what the score was, and when Giggles told me we ended up with minus 12, I was shocked. That was good enough to take it down, which meant snack money was secured, and even better, my CTP stayed. Looks like name brand food tonight, baby. One round wouldn't cut it with the new homies, so we headed to course number 2 for another 18 holes. Bartville Disc Golf Course was alright. A decent course set up with some fun shots. There are a few gems mixed between a lot of mid, but that makes some of the great holes stick out even more. There was also this tree that was so famous for getting nailed, it was named Medusa. I was told it was because it took the soul out of whoever hits it. That has no correlation to Medusa, so the course gets a 6 for the effort and being unique. I eat that type of stuff up, so the more of that on your local weird courses, the better odds I'll like it. We played some dubs and went back to the homies for the night. Woke up the next morning and off to the next stop, which was Brooksville, Florida, only a 10-hour drive. No biggie. If you enjoyed, make sure to drop a like, and if you want to know about how I played Paul McBeth's secret disc golf course, make sure to subscribe to not miss out on that next video. Oh, and if you want to see me roast the Juggalos disc golf bags, make sure to check out the video right here.